Out on the World's Beautiful Game podcast, where we go over all things soccer, but very specifically, this episode is our reaction to the U.S. men's national team's last two games over this international break. Glad we didn't do this immediately after, because I think we may have been a little bit too emotional, a little too honest, and not that we won't be, but it's pretty clear we probably needed a couple of days to digest and think about what happened to this team and what Pochettino was doing. So as always, I'm your host Goose, along with my brother Will, who's also a host here on the podcast.
What's up?
And just first things first, man. How you feeling? How did those games make you feel, man?
They made me feel, I guess, exactly where every U.S. fan has been. It's like, what? Why? What are we doing? Again, just continues to be Jason Bourne and don't know your identity. It's just like, what?
That's fair. That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I can explain how I feel. I keep trying to think about it. I've listened to other podcasts and I've kind of tried to digest it all. It's disappointing that we, against European opposition, seem to still not be able to figure it out. Especially after the last window, where obviously it was Paraguay, Uruguay, maybe Uruguay not in their best form, but it was interesting that it was very similar to what happened when they played Turkey in Switzerland. Was it that window before, where we started strong and then just kind of fell off? I think the most frustrating thing was seeing two really solid first halves, even in the second game when they gave up the goal and when they were down 1 to Portugal. It didn't feel like they couldn't handle it. It felt like they were good, they were going strong, and then second half comes, and I know a lot of subs happened in the second half for both games, for both teams, but I think what baffles me the most about all of this is that in a second half, when players are coming in to try to make their case for a World Cup spot, not to say that they weren't trying, but like, how should the fall off have been that hard with all those players coming on? I know it kills the chemistry and all that, but I would have thought those guys would have ran until their faces fell off trying to figure it out. So I don't know. What do you think about that with regards to how those two games played out with all those subs?
Well, as far as the subs, I'm okay with, because that makes sense. Naturally, you want to get guys and see. Obviously, if you're bringing guys into the camp to see who you're taking to they're going to make the roster, fine. But once again, we switch formations, we switch lineups, we switch starters, which again, I think most teams, the only teams that should have done that are the big teams that already know who they're going to go. They already know who their starters are. They already have their identity. They already have everything. We are France, Brazil, Colombia, any of those guys that already found that already have their team and they know their starting lineup. If you want to tweak them just to see what players, will give that final push or something, fine. But we still don't have a starting lineup. Again, we're experimenting all the time, which at this point we pretty much need to keep playing the same guys to start. Obviously, they're friendlies to see who's going to make it. Then bring in guys for 30 minutes if you want 30 minutes, even if you want for a full second half. But you still start the guys that you think are going to play. But once again, we make changes. We don't know what we're doing. We start off well. I think the water breaks definitely also did affect pretty much the way things were flowing. So obviously it kind of killed momentum, especially for the U.S. needing that in the first game. But at the end of the day, yeah, we still look lost. We look like we don't know what we're doing. We definitely play teams that we shouldn't have, because like I told the guys in the group chat, we should have pretty much made it like a homecoming game the way we do, high school sports here. You play one of the weaker teams just to kind of give yourself at least motivation, even if who cares, because right, people are going to critique no matter what, right? Had we played big teams and we didn't do well because we wound up losing and everything, and everyone's talking obviously the way everyone's talking. We would have played smaller teams, I would have been like, well, why didn't we play bigger teams? Da da da. Who cares? Because at least we would have gotten the win. We would have gotten our players hyped, and at least more motivated. Because as of right now, I don't see any motivation. It just looks now kind of like we're like, oh, okay, here we go. We're going into the World Cup. We're not excited. Like, you know what I mean? Which is terrible. You're going to a World Cup. It's every 4 years. We're not Italy. Look at Italy right now. Look what happened to them. Third time in a row that they're missing out. So, I mean, we're lucky that we're hosting. So obviously we automatically had to go in because even the qualifiers were shaky for us. So before, obviously not this one, but previously. So at this point, the fact that we're just going into it kind of just like, all right, when are we gonna lose? Are we gonna make it out? Like, we're not excited. We're pretty much deflated. Everybody's questioning everything. Poach, they're questioning the lineups. What is our formation? Are our players not good enough? Why do we have MLS players playing and whatnot? Like, it's just a bunch of different things that it just makes it all look wrong. Makes it all pretty much downhill, So it's just a giant mess.
And I will say as a counter to point to your point about playing games that make us feel good about ourselves or make them feel good about themselves. I kind of like the idea that we got our ass kicked and we got shown like you guys still fucking suck. Like you clearly there's still a lot of things that need to be figured out. While that is like awful to know with one window left before the World Cup, I think it's a good kick in the teeth for some of these players that think their spot is guaranteed. I think one thing I'll say is, and we've been talking about it, is like our captain, our best player has looked like shit. Like he's I know that he's had a terrible time in the last few, was it 8 weeks, 10 weeks with AC Milan. I think he finally got a little bit of a groove right before he came to the national team camp, but he hasn't looked good. And if we expect to do anything, that's the guy that needs to be dangerous for us, right? Like obviously we want our strikers to score goals and we want our attacking players to all be on point when it comes to the World Cup, but that's the guy that's supposed to lead the charge. And man, he looked like shit. He had a couple in each game of runs where he looked dangerous, sure, but the pass at the end was terrible. I will give it to him that like McKennie tripped and slipped on one of them in the second game, but still, like we need more from him, right? He's the guy. He's the guy. He's the guy that everybody's lauding. I lauded him for a long time. I said that's the guy that's going to save U.S. soccer, or at least propel U.S. soccer, because I've said he's the best. From what I had seen from Chelsea, from his move to Chelsea to Milan, like I was like, oh shit, I'm right. Like this guy is the best player that the U.S. has ever produced, or at least that we've seen playing for the that represents the U.S. With that said, it's really crazy to me, all the changes, like you said, all the experimentation. I do have a question, and I'm curious to get your thoughts on it. Do you think it's just possible that Pochettino's like, I'm not going to show my cards, I'm just going to keep testing players out because I still want to see who's going to give me that one detail that I think I like, and I don't want other teams to really know what we're coming with. Saw no, I heard when I was listening to one of the other podcasts also about the stats between like a three man back line and a 4-man back line, and like the stats for the 3-man back line are like heavily in favor of using that as opposed to the 4-man back line. But how much of it do you think is Pochettino kind of playing that like, I'm not going to show everyone what we're going to do? Because the one quote that kind of caught my attention a little bit was Pulisic's interview after the Portugal game, and he said, "We're right. We're close to where we want to be. You know, there's a lot of positives to take from these two games because we had two great first halves for each game. So like it kind of makes me think that there's a little bit of like showmanship, and he's only showing something. Like he is kind of trying to do what he wants to do, but he's doing it in an experimental way, which yes is stupid. But do you think he's hiding what he actually is trying to do for the World Cup with the roster or the lineup or like formation, for example?
I mean, to me, if that just sounds like completely idiotic. Do you see any? If we're trying to, for one, he started with why not us? To right, one of the guys I was watching, I forgot what his name was. I watched his podcast briefly, but yeah, he put it up. Why not us? And then semifinals, and then it's like, well, we'll just pretty much do our best. So first of all, we're not, for one, okay. If we want to say we're one of the big teams, that why not us in the final? Name one of the teams. Argentina. Look at Argentina's last two friendlies. Who did they play? Right? So
They
why,
they
are
played
they
the
experimenting?
let me look good game.
Are,
That's what
are
they
are
played.
they
Yeah.
are they experimenting? And then France went up against big teams and they did great, Or do you see these guys experimenting with different formations? No. You see them with different players, sure, because he wants to see who what he's got, and he already knows what he has, and he's like, okay, well, let me try. Even against what, when they played against Colombia, they started there's pretty much five at least of second pretty much bench players and everything, and they were smoking. They were
No,
just
but I'm
dominating.
pretty sure it was literally 9 to 10 new
But
guys,
yeah, but at least that's what
bench
I'm saying. So
players. Yeah.
at least, right? And they looked great, and that was pretty much, you know, you don't call them their B team, but their second team, because obviously it's not their
It's
starters,
like
but
their
they can all
A1
fight.
team. Their
Yeah,
A1 team.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you have teams like that are still not experimenting and say, hey, let me try a different formation, because at this point it's too late in the game.
I
We're
mean, but I will
we're
say
months away.
for
We're
a
months
team
away
like
from the World Cup.
I know, but for a team like France, like the fuck, they're stacked,
Yeah,
dude.
I
Like that's
understand.
a whole
But
different
again,
animal. So
we're
they
saying,
can do that. Yeah, I hear you. I hear your point.
But if obviously the same, like you said, Pulisic, same thing. He doesn't show anything. He's not showing any Milan flashes from the beginning of the season for the U.S. and he hasn't at all.
And it's
And
been for like 12
and
months too. Like it hasn't
I
just
just
been
haven't
this
seen him
window.
pretty much. Honestly, yeah, I've rarely ever seen him play the way he flows. And I know that the level of the players, the quality of the players are different, but still, I feel like he doesn't. He I don't know. I don't know. I know he gets attacked a lot. Naturally, he gets pressed and pushed and hit a lot more because they know for the most part he's the main guy in the United States versus Milan. They're like, well, yeah, he might be one of the main guys in Milan, but there's a lot of guys, so we can't really just do that because if we press him here, if we do the same here, then we leave opportunities open on the other side, and that. So I get that part, but at the same time, I don't, you don't see the fire in him,
Yeah, right.
being worked up. You
You
don't
can
see
see
it.
something's missing. It's
Honestly,
crazy.
most, I mean, but McKinney too. McKinney, look how much he's being, praised and applauded and loved in Juve for what he's doing. But he rarely shows that here too. He shows glimpses
Well,
of it, flashes of it here and there, but it's not the same as when he is in Milan. The only person that I can really see that usually plays and is pushing it and is doing everything to me is Weah. Weah is the only one that I constantly see that is going crazy nonstop.
that's
Both.
funny. It's funny you say that too because I I have thought like I've been thinking in the last couple of days and thinking about all this. I feel like he needs to not start like because he's getting played out of position, and I feel like it's just
He's gonna
detrimental
play
to
that
the
position, but
team. He works hard. I like
I
don't
don't
get
think so. I think he was, when he was been playing, he was the only one that was kind of with pretty much against Doku. I mean, it's really hard to say anybody was holding him because obviously Doku was having his way. But when they took out Weah, Doku just
yeah. I mean,
was even
yeah
worse.
yeah. No,
So,
I
you know
give
what I
you that.
mean? So that's the thing that to me, that's the one guy that I see that at least is tracking back, and you see him with energy the whole time, and it seems like there's at least more passion than anybody else on that field, other than the ones that the guys say like, oh, MLS players are playing way above their level, but at least the MLS guys are not stopping, they're fighting, and they're the ones that you see in any tackle or anything are not afraid to give into it. So if these big time European guys are so much better, why are we not seeing the difference in levels from that? I don't see it. I don't see our US guys, our European based US guys and our MLS guys at different levels. You'd be like, well, this guy shouldn't be playing with this guy.
Yeah, I think the argument at this point because it's the national team, I think we just need to have to stop having that conversation. It's just a matter of like, is the guy fucking playing the way he's supposed to play? Is he fucking making the good tackle? Is he like I'm like obviously playing in Europe? It's a different level of
Well,
game.
going to talk about that, you got Brazil. Obviously, the Brazilian league, you got players. There's a few players that are playing in the Brazilian league, and obviously, how many Brazilians are playing in Europe, all over the world? So you know that are playing at technically a higher level in Brazil. Obviously, Brazil's league is definitely a high level because that's where they bring all this talent from. But you guys from those leagues, from their domestic leagues, and you don't hear anybody saying, "Why is this guy here?" When we got guys, all over Europe. We don't need a Brazilian league player. You have Argentinians, the same thing. They have guys from their league. You don't hear them saying, "Oh, why are we playing our domestic league players? Why do we have guys from the domestic league when we have all these Argentinians in Europe?" You know what I mean? So to me, it's just the dumbest thing when I hear that. It's like, oh, well, yes, and I understand the MLS level is still, it's
Yeah,
not,
years,
you know,
years. Yeah,
yeah.
there's still a
But at the
lot to
same
go.
time,
Yeah,
obviously, but at the same time, again, people are hating. Um, why am I blank? Berhalter.
Berhalter. Yeah.
I don't see what he does terrible. Maybe he's not playing great, but where's the rest of the team? Do you want to point out just because he's an MLS player that he's playing like crap? No.
I
So
think that's typically how it goes now. I will say, to me, like, I think he, for how he, like, when he comes on, like, my dude comes to fight for the shirt. You know what I mean? Like, you could see it, and it's almost like it pisses me off because, not to say that Tessman doesn't do it, because I like Tessman, but
yeah,
you
he
know,
played. He played. He was
but
okay.
even like Johnny Cardoso, like, obviously he's at Atletico
He looked
Madrid,
he
but
looked
he
decent
looked
until I guess
better.
the leg. He looked much
Yeah,
better,
he
but I
got
guess
hurt.
whatever issue. Yeah. So which is
And then
I like him.
and
So
then and then the problem is, I guess my thing is, like, how there was the quote from him a couple windows back where he's like, "I'm gonna play the 11." Um, what do you say? It wasn't the best players, but the the right players. Like, I think game one, was a. It's hard, right? Because game one was like probably the closest thing to the lineup that we thought we were gonna see, except for with Ream in the back,
Turner.
and Turner being in there. I like Trusty, by the way. Fantastic. Oh, you know what? Let's go into that because that's probably better to talk about. Who do you think was killed their chances, and do you think anyone made a case for themselves to be really considered to be on the 26-man roster for the World Cup?
Let me go back and
While you're
look at
looking,
it. Yeah,
I'll tell you the
because
ones, because I kind of made a list, and Trusty was one. I thought he, in that second game, especially, you know he made some tackles. He was reading the game, like, as a back. I think he definitely made the case that he needs to be one of our defenders because we are really struggling in that particular part of the field. To me, I think Berhalter, for how he fights, I think he should be on the roster. And then I also think, Arfston is he killed himself. I know we don't really have depth behind Robinson, but I just don't see us keeping him. Freeman definitely made a case for himself to be in there because, like you said, what, the one thought that I had when you were talking about Weah, I would love to see Freeman playing the third center back, the right center back. I would love to see Des playing the wing back if Des is healthy for the World Cup, and then Weah playing as a winger up top where he should be. Can you imagine those three with the work that Weah does? With Freeman making runs from the back, surprising people, and him and Weah understanding that he can help cover. Like, how great, maybe not great, but how much better we would be, and we wouldn't be like stuck trying to figure out how the fuck to get the ball up top or whatever. So those, to me, those are the players that kind of stuck out and did well. I don't think anyone else really, like, lit the fire under me that said, "Oh yeah, that guy needs to be there." But I think, those guys were the ones for me that made a case for themselves.
yeah, I'm just looking here. Yep, same, pretty much in line. Tillman, I think Tillman did what he could in the first game. He was looking a little more dangerous, especially to start off. We just couldn't capitalize on the opportunities against Belgium because we had a couple of goals that we could have, and we started off against Portugal where we had some opportunities too where we could have scored and we just couldn't finish. Um, I know what I
Speaking of
saw
which, I was
which
surprised. Now you mentioned Tillman. I was surprised that people in our group chat were saying that Tillman didn't look good. I was like, Tillman's fucking working his ass
I
off.
saw him. So I mean, again, you have to kind of analyze. There's certain parts of the game that yeah, the average people won't look at or just see. Well, he didn't show up. You didn't see him make any important plays or anything. But I was watching his off the ball movement, and I saw that he was playing pretty decent off the ball, trying to make runs, trying to make passes, trying to make plays, trying to draw a defender and kind
He
of
was
move around.
coming back
Which
like Bruno
so
does for United, just
yeah,
like
so
helping him.
yeah, I
Oh,
don't
his
see
stock is up
any.
too. I would
You
definitely
know,
say
I
him. He
think
definitely made a case.
every striker stock is down, and I know Deuce was talking about it, and he pretty much said like if I was a striker, I'd be pissed off because you didn't. The second game there was not even a striker started, so at that point it's pretty much saying you already don't have a striker set yet. You don't know who your striker is gonna be because Balogun played, and again, you know, he didn't look like he has looked in Europe right now. I know, and from what I see, is he's trying to do a lot to try to get involved in the game, and either we can't see him, we can't find him when they're playing, but he's just, again, he just looks, he's average, below average because, and none of our strikers are looking special. They came on, and I didn't see anything from it. So again, that pretty much we don't know who our striker is. Cool. Well, that sucks. And then after, like you said, who are you gonna play in the back? If Dest is back healthy, absolutely. And then where does that put Weah? At that point, who do you take out? Do you put McKinney into the middle where Tillman was playing, and then you leave Weah outside and Pulisic outside, and then obviously whatever striker we have, and then yeah, who's gonna play in the two pretty much CDMs? Is Tessman a starter? I don't think so. Um,
And
again, I think
people are talking like he is, and that's the interesting part, right?
I
Because I know we're talking about Adams is still missing, and
yeah, I
that's a
don't,
guaranteed starter.
I'm not I don't dislike Testman. I think, like you said, I just don't think he has it to be a starter in the World Cup yet. Now, how old is he? He's young though. He's
24.
24, so yeah,
Yeah.
he'll be 28 for his next World Cup. So at that point, he should, that should be, next World Cup. So here he should get solid minutes, depending if you're trying to keep Adams healthy, if you're still a little scared, just to preserve him for the whole entire World Cup. So yeah, but to me, again, I stick with Cardoso and I
Adams
go with Adams. Yeah, Cardoso and Adams are if they were playing that
three in the
pretty
back.
much 3-5-2. Yeah, if we're playing 3-5-2, then at
Three
that
four
point,
three
obviously,
is really the
yeah,
formation now.
whichever. Yeah, well, yeah, 3-4-3
I
pretty
think on
much.
the attack it's 3-4-3, 3-5-2 when we're
Yeah,
defending. Yeah.
but at that point, so then you have McKenzie, Ream, and obviously Richards, and then your wing backs would be Robinson
Test
and
if healthy. Yeah.
Dest, yeah. And then at that point, pretty much it's a whole clusterfuck of who's up top because
Yeah, I think one of the biggest beefs that I have with what's happening with the striker thing is Pepe, man. Our boy Pepe don't get a chance. I don't understand why.
yeah, he doesn't like him.
Um,
I don't know if it's because I don't want to say he doesn't like him, but I guess I don't know. He just doesn't want to give him a chance. He doesn't see maybe he doesn't show in practice the way certain coaches if they don't like the way you move in practice, then they're not gonna like that. They're gonna kind of be like, oh well, it doesn't look like he's for whatever reason. But if he doesn't, some certain players, that's just how they are. And if the coach doesn't have enough time to understand them or care to understand them, then he's just gonna kind of disregard and be like, well, I'll bring him on, but he's not showing me that he wants to play or whatnot. And
yeah, I find it hard to believe because then in that first game he's the one that got the interception for Ajman to get the goal, and like I know that's a small thing in a game where he had more time to do some more work, but a lot of that also comes down to uh, like what happened in the second game. Like this is not even in regards to Pepe, but like what the hell were those subs in the second half where he brought on a third defensive midfielder when we're losing, and you already don't have a striker in there. Like who was going to get the ball to the striker? Like it made no sense when
I
Ajiman came
don't,
in.
yeah,
Like my man was in La La Land by himself, had to come back, and he was almost playing winger at times, getting the ball, trying to hold up, and then having to make a sprint towards the box to see if someone could find him, and it just made no sense to me because. I love Roldan, but he plays like a 6 or like a 6'8", and then it was him, Tessman, and Aiden Morris which I like Aiden Morris, and I think luckily he's on the younger side too. I think so. Next World Cup, like you said, it'll be his time. But like, I just don't understand. That's what I didn't understand, to be honest with you. Like, I just was like, why is this a thing? Like, why are you using these guys together in a midfielder with no players up top to find goals for you? Like, what was the purpose? And again, it feels like I think he's made up his mind about certain things, and he just wanted to see how certain players would do. And really weird to think that would be what it is. I might be stupid wrong, and it doesn't make any sense, but I'm trying to figure out why that was the approach that he chose. Like, that second game to me was really stupid, because um it felt like in the first half, like, oh shit, like, oh okay, we can stay toe to toe with Portugal, and like we did with Belgium. And what the hell is going on in the second half? It's crazy to me that with the two different teams that he had for both games, we had good first halves, and then like it all kind of breaks down after that. But again, like, it's just not enough. Like, I don't even understand at this point. Like, and I don't know if we're supposed to, you know, figure out or find the positives in what we saw, because like I said, first halves were positive for both games. It's just that second half that went to shit.
Well, it's funny because remember before these two games, we were kind of talking about what do we think our lineup's going to be, and I was just like, well, let's wait and find out. And now we're still at the point that two games passed, and it's still kind of like, well, let's wait and find out. Those two games didn't do anything for for us hopeful, and just
I know.
in that case, yeah. So I
I
just
think that's what kills me the most with all this, is like, we're trying to be positive here for the team. We're trying to, it's a World Cup at home, and we're supposed to, we're supposed to be okay and happy.
well,
And
I don't know how the hell we're gonna be okay with those stupid prices. I saw we were both online, so we were both online for. I waited 5 hours for the tickets because it's like the final waves or whatever, and there's the U.S. Well, the games that were available. I was like, okay, let me try to see the
two thousand seven
USA
hundred
versus
dollars.
Paraguay. Yeah, and that was like
It's the
in the
opener.
300 something, but it was like in the 300s and something. Like, are you kidding me? For 27, that's just for me. Obviously, if I get two tickets, that's I can literally I can rent a beach house, beachfront property, probably in Florida Keys, probably hire like a bar
Private
service,
chef,
like yeah, a bar service, with
top
bunch of
shelf
people.
liquor,
Exactly, and then you're talking, and then have a giant rent a probably a giant screen TV that or giant floating screen TV in the pool or
and
something,
and
and
food
have a
for the
phenomenal
entire World
for all
Cup.
that. Exactly, you know what I mean? So that's just ridiculous. I can probably book my next for the next World Cup, my flights,
Completely.
tickets, everything, and my stay for the amount of money for the home opener, not even the final. I was like, man, I waited all those hours. Like, maybe I'll get two tickets, and if I don't care for if it lets me pick a final, for the finals or something, I'll resell them. Yeah, I can only imagine if 2,700 for a home opener. I can only imagine what the final prices are, and it's just ridiculous. It's just robbery at its finest, and it's absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's probably one of the most deflating things. Obviously, especially being because we're big U.S. fans, right? We've watched them as kids. We've been fans ever since, the Eddie Pope
Hmm.
days,
Kobe Jones.
Tony Miola. Like, we watched. Maybe we don't remember the '94 World Cup very well, but we went to the home opener for MLS with the Metro Stars and Tony
Hmm.
Miola.
He said hi to me. I remember that time.
And as much as we don't really care for the MLS, because it's a hard watch still. We've rooted for the national team since we were children, and it's almost sad to be in this moment where we don't even have excitement. We're
I
like
honestly almost
dreading
like.
dreading like the first game, like. And the crazy, I don't know if you've realized, but the first game is on Mikey's birthday.
Oh, is
So
it? No, I didn't see the first. I didn't even see the
so
opening date.
so
Yeah.
I'm gonna be celebrating my kid's birthday, and
Just
just
don't hold
like
him. Don't carry him. You might want to throw him by accident.
stressing this game that we're about to watch as the home opener. All the feels. It's gonna be crazy, with everything going on in this country too. Like, it's really it's such a hard, like, it's such a hard
It's honestly,
really
it's
hard
almost
watch.
like I almost rather be Italy right now.
No, don't say that. I will say I don't ever want to hear an Italian American ever talk shit about the US soccer team because yeah, we missed out one World Cup, but you've missed out three in a row and you lost to fucking Bosnia Herzegovina, so I don't want to hear it.
Well, I watched
And
that game. I mean, I'd say that
I
let's talk
know,
about a
but
few of the other games because I'd rather not talk
40-year
about the US
old Edin
anymore.
Dzeko, come on, bro. Like,
Yeah, but the fact that I mean, for
and
one,
a 19-year-old
Tony
American is the one that scored the game-winning
Bastoni
penalty.
Bastoni making a foolish tackle when at that point because then you put yourself down and then Keane missing that pretty much it wasn't wide open but he had a quality shot and he roofed it. He went over after he scored, so that would have iced the cake. So I just don't know what.
Well, all the
And
Baggio penalties
well, I
too.
did see, yeah, the fact that I mean, in the penalties you missed, but then I did see, was it speaking of Baggio, I believe Baggio was the one that they hired apparently back in like the early 2000s, and he had a 900-page dissertation, and they pretty much said,
Fuck
we're
off.
not wasting our time. Yeah, we're not wasting our time with 900 pages. And mind you, this was before AI. So obviously he had 900 pages of his dedication. And they pretty much told you, oh, you're pretty much one of our greatest players of all time. Yeah, go eat a bag of dicks. Or a bag
Bafangul.
of fucking, yeah, eat a bag of fucking, you know, breadsticks, whatever. But anyways, yeah, so the fact
they,
that they
they
did it
sent
to
them to
themselves,
Olive Garden, bro. That's what they did.
yeah, exactly. They broke the pasta. And that's pretty much, but yeah,
Yeah,
it's just,
it's funny. We were talking about that today at work, and I was saying how um, a lot of the problems for a league like Italy is they've brought in so many players from outside that they don't even know what players are good in their own country because they're not giving them the opportunity to grow and I know some of the teams do. I mean, some of the smaller teams probably do, but the bigger teams have lost that identity. Like the Italy was a
well, there's
defensive
yeah,
powerhouse, and
yeah.
they are no longer like
I
they
mean,
are terrible on
offensively
the.
too.
Oh
Baggio, Del
well,
Piero,
oh
all these guys.
no.
Like, there's literally no
Well,
striker
I
that's,
just
you know what
mean
I mean?
like
Like, there's
the last
no, yeah,
legacy of
powerhouse
theirs was
defensively.
the
Yeah, yeah,
defensive
yeah.
powerhouse, right? And
And
yes,
goalkeepers,
obviously
which,
before
yeah.
and goalkeepers, and then but before that, yes,
I
I
mean,
do know
just
strikers, but
honestly all around because Del Piero, Sambrota was obviously in the back, but Del Piero, Gattuso, all these guys that were in the middle, they just literally
Totti,
all around. Yeah,
you
well,
know,
yeah, you just had all around players that didn't matter where they all were just. And now you literally, if you think of one player, like all right, maybe Barella. Barella is one of the guys that, Barella's, and then center back, yeah, Bastoni's the only one that, and look what he did. He got himself a red card. So you can't even really, yeah, like that's just completely disappointing. But hey, congratulations to Bosnia Herzegovina.
I mean,
Congratulations
yeah,
to Congo. Congo,
to
shout out to Congo beating uh
Jamaica.
yeah, Jamaica. Blew your chance, sorry. Shout outs to Iraq. They beat Bolivia 2-1 to make it into the World Cup. They freaking some crazy matches. Those I can only imagine the
And then
emotions of those matches.
but you know that's gonna happen for the World Cup, right? Like all these teams that have made it in, and I know this World Cup is very saturated. It's a new look. I just don't think it'll ever. I know it kind of sucks for the bigger teams because there's more chances that they get surprised at some point due to injuries, just fatigue, whatever. But I love the fact that there's so many opportunities for some of these teams to like really like shine for their people, right? Because even for us, 2002, that's what that did. Donovan's goal against Algeria that made me cry as a grown man, a
So
young grown
you
man at
were,
the time.
yeah,
Yeah, I was
you're
already. I was
14.
already. Oh,
You were
the
still 14.
2010.
2002? Oh, they said 2002. I was like,
No,
I
2000.
remember those.
No,
I remember that World Cup.
The
Okay.
Donovan goal.
Oh
The
yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The
yeah, of course. The
you know the
roofer,
goal. Yeah.
the roofer. Yeah.
So it's great. I like it. I know it's weird with all these new smaller teams, but I mean
I don't think
that's
it's
why
weird. I
like
mean,
people love March Madness. Why? Because the Cinderella teams are the ones that always everyone roots for, and you hope that they do well. Like my hope is that that doesn't happen in our group, and I hope we can get a win. Like I
I
hope
mean, it's gonna be a struggle against Turkey. That's for sure. I think
Oh well,
Turkey
we know
is
that,
gonna.
yeah. But I will say,
Yeah.
at least Turkey seem the last two games haven't been themselves because they struggled. They won
It
1-0
doesn't
both
matter
games.
because
I know
anybody that's going to play
World
against
Cup
the
is going to
United
be
States,
different.
it's not even that. Anybody that plays against the United States has like a pretty much like a bone to pick with just life, because obviously the U.S.
You're right.
system, everything, like, we want
They
to
just want
beat
to
your
make
ass.
us. They just want to make us look bad. Yeah, no, that's fine. I
I
get
mean,
that.
Australia's going to whoop our ass too, because they're going to come in strong, and Paraguay is not going to be any. So
Yeah, we've already talked about that
we
one.
didn't yeah we didn't play a team that gets chippy, likes to play tough. I know, I'm not saying, obviously get our players injured, but we played a completely different look of outlook of what we're going to be coming up against. So it just doesn't. I don't understand what these fixtures were for, other than, I guess, ticket sales, because obviously Belgium, you have a bigger following, and then you have,
My only thought
obviously, Portugal.
My only thought was that they were like, if we get out of the groups and we play against some of these teams, we need to know what we look.
Yeah, what they need to do is worry about getting out of the group first,
Yeah,
because
I mean,
you don't need to worry about
you're not wrong,
the.
but Pochettino's talking about semifinals, so that was his thought
Yeah,
process.
I don't know, but yeah,
No, I know it was a shit show, and I guess for us, like it was the first time I didn't actually get like completely disappointed. It was just like, it's like, okay, well, here we go again. Thinking, like I said, thinking about the window before, where we had the same shitty performances against Turkey and Switzerland. But I hope he knows what he's doing. I hope that all this, there is a plan behind it. I hope that he just wasn't showing his cards, and I'm kind of like conspiracy theorying a little bit and thinking that that's probably what was going on, and he was just really like trying to see if some players fit in certain positions, and how they would look like when they're getting their when the cards are against the table. Can they handle it? Like, to because he does have to make some tough decisions. I know we're not super deep, but at the same time, bro, is Rodan going to make it? Is Berhalter going to make it? Is Diego Luna going to be in this roster? Is Zendejas going to get called in? There's players that are kind of like that we've seen that we thought did really well that are not here. That could make a difference when they come off of the bench. Is Aronson going to make the World Cup roster? Like, he didn't exactly have a good showing either. And I know you're a big fan of his. I like him too, because I know I've seen what he does in the EPL. It's just crazy, because like I feel like
Yunus
none of
Musa wasn't called in. Yeah, there's
yeah,
a
but
bunch
he's
of
not
other
coming.
guys.
But like I feel like watching all of it, like I don't know, they're the experts. They have the tape. They're gonna be watching the film for everything that happened, and they're gonna be the ones that decide, like, does this player fit what we're trying to do? This player does not fit what we're trying to do. And like the only thing that I thought about with not using the three strikers for the second game was that he knows his strikers. He's like, yep, these are the guys I'm taking. So let me see if we can play. If we have to come into a scenario where we lose our strikers, or we don't have the players up top to help us, can Pulisic be the one that leads the line if we have to do that? Stupid, yes. But I kind of thought about, like, is he literally practicing scenarios that could happen in a tournament like this? Because it does happen. Like, I mean, it's not like something that couldn't happen. But at the same time, like, it's a weird thing to try. Like, what that player does, and if you don't have a big tall dude up there, because that's what our strong guy, because Balogun is strong as hell too.
It just seems to me like if you're trying to reinvent the wheel, this is not the time to do it. This is not the place to do it. This is not.
Fair, yeah.
Again, this is not the team to reinvent the wheel with. It's not like we have France, roster type. We have a team that, all right, these are our set guys. All right, like, that's it. Like, we still don't have a set. Again, we're like one of the few countries that don't have set players. Which, again, it's not like we have a pool full of,
Yeah, no, I
top
know.
class Ballon d'Or players, and it's not to disrespect the U.S. team, because obviously I love the U.S. team, and I love how we're pushing, we're making ourselves known.
Progress, yeah.
Yeah, there's progress, because again, players that are playing in on big teams, Cardoso still in the Champions League, and I have guys that in the first half, Pulisic was playing amazing, was the main guy at Milan. McKinney obviously earning his contract and saying he's not pretty much sellable. So again, we have progress where we're playing on these big teams, and our guys are there.
People are
But
questioning though now, is playing in Italy a big team since like, another World Cup they're out of. But
yeah, but
obviously interesting, right?
club team versus international team is different. But at the end of the day, we're obviously our guys are still, they've come a long way from playing in the second division, or playing in lower division teams and to making it to top teams,
Yeah, I
top tier
mean,
teams. In France, where again we got Balogun playing, so scoring goals in the Champions League and doing it with ease. So we're there, but we're not. But at the same time, these guys are coming into the camp, and on top of that, yeah, they, even coming into the camp and I'm pulling out because I don't feel like playing or I don't feel like getting hurt or something like that. Like again, that doesn't happen on any other national team. If I'm the coach, cool. You think you're too good for the team, or you wanna take it easy? And, this is how many people get a chance to say that they play. So if you think you're too good, or you think you wanna uh, you think it's, oh, I'm looking out for myself or whatnot, that this is, few players get to do that. So at the end of the day, if you don't want to play, there's plenty of guys that again will do whatever they have to get a spot to play a couple minutes on the national team, any national team. Anybody, it's a blessing to be able to do something like that. So if you don't want to fight for it, again, I don't care. If you want to put on the jersey, I don't care if you had a choice between multiple countries. If you ultimately pick this team, I don't care. That means you're gonna play, and if you want to play, cool, then give everything you got for it. But if you want to show up, or I want to take it easy, I don't want to get hurt, I got this and that, cool, don't come play. That's as easy as that. There's gonna be other guys that'll bust their asses and give it everything you got. Again, most of the MLS guys during the Gold Cup, hey, the showing we looked decent.
well,
So
not just the Gold Cup. I mean, the last two games was a good mix. This rolled on, looked
yeah,
good.
that's what
Berhalter
I'm
looked
saying.
good.
Yeah,
Like these
exactly.
guys
So
had something that they showed that was enough
again,
for all
if
of us to be like, "Oh, that's interesting." I
if we
didn't think they were
lose
that
if we
good.
lose every game but we're like, man, these guys busted their ass. They gave everything they could. They played as well. It just wasn't there in the cards for them. It just wasn't there. But you saw that everybody was, man, he's going in on a tackle, man, he's he's there. He just, unfortunately, the keeper's just playing incredible. It doesn't matter anything, but if we see that they left it all on the table, and it's just not our luck there, then we can't ask for anything more. But if we're like, man, why does it look like he doesn't want to be there? Why does he look like he's scared? Why does he look like, if we keep questioning that, then why be there?
The only thing that gives me a little bit of hope is that Colombia got their ass kicked, which we did not expect. I know it was France, but still, they seemed like they were kind of on a roll. And then Japan beating England, weird. They look lost without Harry Kane.
That's
Um,
England.
I know, but it's still, man. Like,
It's
I mean,
England.
they did
England
play Foden
has,
at the 9, so I feel like they
but
did
that's
the
just
same thing Pochettino did. It's weird.
yeah, but that's just England. England just,
But again,
I don't.
and then on the very last thing, and we can leave off on this. Just like at the end, it is friendlies, so I don't know how much we can put stock in what we see, like full 90 minutes because of all the subs, right?
Yeah,
I will say, like, you do expect to see more because you're coming in to represent the national team. I
but
would
that's what I'm
imagine
saying.
you always,
It's
like every other, like Argentina player doesn't come and just like stops, what he's doing because he's playing on the net. Like it's the
but it's
pride,
not.
like
It's just not so much the result. It's the same thing again. Who are we going to compare ourselves to? Because obviously they're in the same conference as us, Mexico, which we hate comparing ourselves to Mexico because we always want to be way above them. They tied against Belgium and they tied against Portugal. So even if, again,
and they're in their
these other,
worst moment. Yeah, yeah.
exactly, and then these teams, if these teams come in, look, that's the difference. They play against Mexico. They're like, you know what? Maybe they're like, we're not going, we're not going full throttle against them. But when they play the U.S., they're going to. So when we compare ourselves, we got beat down. Mexico didn't even take a loss.
Yeah. No,
So
that's fair. Yeah,
that's
that's fair.
at the end of the day, that's who we're comparing to because that's who's closest to us, and obviously we hate being compared to them. And when we play them, we've had, it's been in our hand for a bunch, but for the
Not
most part,
recently, but for the
but
most
for the
part,
most part,
lately, yeah.
but at the end of the day, you see these results, and then we're like, what the fuck? So as much as friendlies don't matter, they do and they don't because yeah, I'm all for experimenting to see who's gonna play, but when the players look like they don't give a shit,
Yeah,
then that's when everybody
that's
talks.
for me. That's what hits the most too. Is like if I see a guy, an MLS guy, come in and he fucking plays his heart out. That's the guy I want to see in the field. I don't want to see a guy that's half-assing it just because he's playing in Europe and he's good. I know you're good. We all know you're good. That's why you're over there. But at the same time, like this is a different, especially now, man. Like it's the lead up to the World Cup. Like I get maybe some players are worried about getting injured because they still have to finish the season with their club, but like
Hmm.
let's not be Arsenal and let's not pretend like we have injuries that we don't have. But anyway, it's just frustrating. It sucks. It was fucking terrible. It ruined my weekend. Thankfully, we got
Didn't
we
ruin
got.
mine because I knew what to expect.
I just
Shout out to
mean
the other teams that made it to that
yeah,
made it
yeah.
into the
Shout
World
out to
Cup
all
final
the teams that are
matches.
there. The last 40, the 48 are complete now. We know who the U.S.'s last team is. We kind of already knew that, but hey, we move. We got 2 more friendlies that we'll have before the World Cup. We'll see what the final roster will be at the end of May.
Well, yep,
Let's
that's
see
what
if there's
Poch
any
said. He doesn't
surprises.
want to wait till the end. So,
Oh well, yeah, and let's see if there's any surprises. Let's see if he does wind up taking some of the players that everyone's saying don't belong there, because I think he's got something to say about that. He comes from a background. He knows what like Argentina is like, and that you shouldn't shun anyone. So I'm happy to see what's coming. Uh, we could only get better, right? You can only hope for better performances because it wasn't exactly the best showing this time around. So I got my jerseys. I got my big TV. We ain't going to the games, but we're gonna watch the games. We're gonna support, and we're gonna just enjoy the World Cup, right? Hopefully, they come out with some good music because so far it's been shit. But on that note, it was a
Jelly
pleasure
Roll.
as always. No,
Anyways,
yeah, it's
yeah.
just terrible. We'll just say that thank you for listening again. As always, we'll come back next time. EPL to DPL talk, European Champions League, all that stuff coming up. FA final. Will Arsenal get to the end? Will they win the triple? Probably not. But anyway, till next time, everyone.
Shout
Thank you for
outs.
listening.
Have a good one.
Have a good one.